I'm getting ready. Okay, it says we're live on Facebook. So I'm Judy of Divina Cucina, and I'm so pleased to have my good friend, Kathy McCabe here now from Dream of Italy. So
Hi,
Kathy, I
Judy.
wanted to ask you, um, I mean, you're Italian American, and that was always an important part of your family, right?
It was. It was complicated. If you watch I have an episode about my ancestry.
Uh-huh.
I was a little complicated with my Irish father's family and my Italian mother's family.
Yeah, it's like which one wins over, right?
Well, no, it was just it's quite a story that it really mattered to the Irish that my mother was Italian. It was very looked down upon.
Well,
So you've got to watch this episode because it was always shocking to me.
when you went
got
to your
married in
village in Italy,
What?
when you went to Castelvetro?
No. When my mother was marrying my father, she couldn't tell them she was Italian American.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really quite the soap opera backstory that I have. And then she hid it, and I didn't even mean to talk about this today. My grandfather worked on the railroad, and there was sort of nothing worse than being Italian. The Italian and the Irish were pretty low on the totem pole. And he would tell the people he worked with that he was like Austrian Hungarian because our family were Norman invaders in southern Italy. So we all look like this. And then, he sort of said to my mom, "Don't tell them you're Italian," because my father's sister married an Italian, and the grandfather was still alive. They had to tell him that he was Spanish.
Wow.
So this whole thing is quite the soap opera, and my mother hid it. My mother, who was like the least likely to lie about anything, and then it just took on a life of its own where she just never would admit it until she appeared on the PBS series.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, no, when you watch the episode, she was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And my father, who he had the very beginnings of dementia when we were filming this episode, but he was very sharp. He said like almost as if I had cued him, but I didn't. He said, "You're a good kid. Who cares what they say about you?" And
After how many years of marriage?
50 something. But then the episode comes out, right? So my mother called it like her coming out.
Uh-huh.
And she died 8 weeks later.
Wow.
And I really believe, as crazy as it sounds, and if you watch the episode, my mother had to sort of live her truth, say her truth before she could leave.
Wow. That's great. Because
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, did you grow up eating like Italian American food? But
we did. It was just more like, but it was interesting, that generation. So my grandparents were born here in 1902 and 1904, and their families really wanted them to be American.
Mhm.
That was the big trend. So they did speak some Italian, and they were my daycare. So I would notice, like, if they didn't want me to know something, they'd be they would say something to each other in Italian from their childhood, right? They weren't completely fluid.
Yeah.
And so we had my grandparents were both, the man too, amazing cooks. My grandfather had one of these amazing Italian gardens. And their warmth. And I always say, when I first went to Italy, and every time I go, and I will probably be in a ball of tears in the airport, I feel now my parents are gone too, but I feel my grandparents. I feel that warmth when I go. Yeah. So we did do some of the traditional things, but they were more American. They were somewhat Americanized, which again was a trend as well.
And when did you first start coming to Italy?
26 years ago this month, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was my mother and I graduated from college, and you'll figure out how old I am then if I said that. My mother never wanted people to know how old she was, and I could hear her we were going to Italy. It was like a graduation trip. My father, as he often did, stayed home with the dog, and he traveled with us too, but we were going to Italy, and I'm like, if we're going to Italy, we have to find the town. And we found the town on that trip.
Oh, great. And when did you start Dream of Italy?
19 years ago. Can you believe
that?
Now,
it started as a newsletter, right?
There is a newsletter, a membership website. So I was really ahead of my time in that that department. I've been meaning to like redesign it as a glossy magazine for about 10 years now, but then finally just did it last year. So 180 issues. I know you've contributed to some of them. And right now, if people join, we're working with you and you get my favorite cookbook, your cookbook as a bonus. So you get 180 access to 180 back issues and then the new issues. So it's a good deal.
And this is all via, can you see that the membership on PBS?
Yeah.
Or is it on your site too?
Yeah, you can do it on my site as you always have, but now with our new PBS special, it's a pledge special coming out. It's out this week. Mm-hmm. When you pledge, you can get a membership as part of the package.
Oh, cool. Great.
Yeah. And if you're already a member, you email me and I'll add another year. So don't worry about that.
And so when did you actually start filming?
7 years ago. 7 years ago. And for the special, it's parts of other episodes, but we filmed that mostly in 2019, and the second shoot was October 2019, thank God, because it was all in the can. And there's a scene, we go to Sting's concert because, you and I are with the big wigs, right, Judy? And I'm very hands-on, like this one, I basically was the producer, the editor, the writer. I have my editor Chuck. We had another wonderful editor, Brian, but I'm picking all the shots and they kind of even get crazy because I'm like, no, that shot, like I'm very particular. And so we only had a few shots of the audience for the Sting concert. And I was like, get that shot of Nora and Judy because they've both been in the show. So you guys, if people tune in, you'll see Nora from Chianti Cashmere and Judy. They were there. And then I also got Gabriele Corcos and Debbie Mazer. And it was fun.
I was going to ask you something too. Oh, but you started off in real life as a journalist, right?
I did. My first full-time job was at ABC News, and I worked as a desk assistant for Peter Jennings. So I have a TV background and a hard news background. And that's what actually makes this publication really unique. I don't take there's a few Italy magazines, they take paid articles and you don't know they're paid or not paid. Like I should have, I would have made a lot of money if I didn't have these old school sort of journalism values. But, for about 18 years, there was no advertising in the publication. Now we do a few full page ads, but nobody pays to get in it. It's very much like what is good for you there's not, and that's the way the TV show too is too. Any of the sponsors, they cannot be in the show. So it's still those old journalism values and the values that PBS espouses. I couldn't even put a shot of a wine bottle of a company.
With the label, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. You don't always know secrets that are involved in the show. And I think, it's so brave of you to do these shows. I mean, that's a big investment and risky business, right?
It is. I guess I've learned a lot about myself in doing them, that I am pretty brave. And if I can make it through what I've just made it through, which COVID was almost the least, I can really do anything. I actually raised nearly all the money for the show in 6 weeks this winter. Because we got the interview with Sting and I put my own money out to do that because of course you're going to do that. And then I knew I could fund it, but then there's a pandemic, so you can't go and ask people for money.
Yeah.
So it was coming out one way or another, but I'm glad, I made my money back. So it is risky. It is, and I work a lot. So it's not, people will look at it and be like, wow, I want to do that. And they can.
A lot of times people think that someone's paying you to do all this. There's the cute blonde, and we've got her as a spokesperson. But I don't know if people really know that you do it all. I mean, really?
No, they don't really know, and I don't know. Sometimes the magic of TV. Do you want them to know? But I think it's more impressive if they know that really less than 10% of what I do is be on that screen. I do. It's my production company. yes, I have an attorney, but I oversee all the legal agreements, all the accounting, all the licensing. You know, we had to license Roxanne,
Yeah.
even though Sting is playing it. So I negotiate, you know, how much time do we get and how much does it cost and do we do the rights? You know, if it goes on Amazon, can we run it? And so most of what I do is the business of doing a show, which it's a lot. It's exhausting. Yeah,
I
but
just
it gets this crazy thing because, and you know this too, you have your own business and you're doing your tours. No matter what you do, even if you have a small business in a small town, if your name is on it,
That's
you
important.
gotta watch it really carefully. And it does feel like I don't have kids, but I have like 4 kids that I'm babies. Like I sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh my God, did we do that? Did we do that? Did we do, you know, so it's all consuming. And again, my editors might kill me. Like sometimes I'm like, nope, we got to change that shot. Like I try to do the best high value product possible.
And you that's just it too. You're selling this dream. You're selling all these glimpses into places and people's lives in Italy.
Yes.
When are you coming back?
I hope, you know, I should tell you, I was telling Nora, I'm trying to get my dog over there because if I come, I want to come for a couple months.
Is he fit under the seat?
What? He doesn't, or not quite. He's borderline, right?
Oh.
So I thought I could get him on. He was an emotional support dog for my dad, and then I had him recertified for me. And trust me, after this year, he really is. Mm-hmm. But they banned all emotional support animals. No, January, the U.S. Department of Transportation, any flight originating in or coming to the U.S. And there's a good reason for that. People were bringing like
dogs and horses.
So, and he's blind now, although he's the happiest a clam. He's actually here. He's very happy and wrestles other dogs and things. And I'm not putting him in cargo. And so I actually messaged Nora. I'm like, who do you know that flies private? Because maybe I can, but you don't know unless you ask. Mm-hmm. And, you know, but maybe I will be able to work out something with the dog so if I come and I don't bring him, I wouldn't come for like a long time. So I'm thinking maybe at the end of the summer. I just haven't caught up with everything I need to. You know, I thought I'd be ready when it was time, but I have like still all this stuff to do with the show. And
so tell me about the show. What made you come up with this series this time? It's really focused on the people. It's really great.
It is. I'm proud of it. You know, I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it.
So what's your little byline? Thrive and what is it?
So it's called Dream of Italy, Travel, Transform, and Thrive. Mm-hmm. And the premise is that Italy is so much more than a trip. And we all know that. And Judy knows that. And everyone here knows that it's, well, for me, it was life-changing with my career and what I would do. But there are 3 themes. And the reason I sort of made it more of a teaching, kind of a more of a bullet point type show is it's a Pledge special. So if you watch Pledge in the US, you see Dr. Amen and his healthy brain. You see Susie Orman, retirement strategies. You're always learning something through a Pledge special. So I thought, well, what could people learn? And they can learn, you can live like an Italian at home because Italy ranks at the top of the Bloomberg Health Index as sometimes it's Spain, sometimes it's Italy, the healthiest country in the world. And there's a lot of reasons. And one is one of our favorite topics, Judy, you know, access to fresh, affordable food. And so you can take all these things, like even drinking more espresso, you can improve your brain health. So you don't ever have to go to Italy to learn something. So that's one theme. Another theme is how to travel in a more meaningful way. And another is this really big trend of taking a sabbatical in Italy, retiring in Italy, moving to Italy. And we explore that through 6 sort of groups or families of expats or part-time expats. 3 of them happen to be really, really, really famous. So Sting and his wife, Trudy Styler, Francis Ford Coppola, Frances Mays, who wrote Under the Tuscan Sun. One is still famous, David Bach. I remember watching him on Oprah. He wrote all these financial help books. He took his family, his young family, for a radical sabbatical, enrolled them in the International School of Florence. Arlene Antoinette Gibbs, who changed a career and moved.
Amazing.
And then my breakout favorite star, and I want to do like a party in Florence at some point, is Sally Carosino, widowed.
With her dog.
And her dog passed away like a month or two ago. And I'm a dog, this is saying a lot. She's maybe a bigger dog person than I am, which is almost not possible. So we did like a little, lower third that says Zoe, but I'm really proud of Sally. Sally doesn't let things stop her. She just adopted a new little dog, Mia.
Oh, great, yeah.
But she's a retiree who is like, I'm getting chills because I love this woman. And she reminds me of me. She reminds me of my mom. She said, I still want to live. I still want to have a life. And she has more of a social life, friends of all ages, which is what my mom was like that. But I think it's more rare sometimes in the US. And she has this great life in Florence. So we see this combination of, and we go through the land, food, celebrations, community, all those things that make Italy unique. So it's much more of many more interviews, and fitting, the second greatest accomplishment of this pledge special is fitting all these people in and making it kind of work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think actually, from Sting and Trudy, I talked to their PR people, and they actually like this idea of being part of this ensemble because it's really about Italy. It's about their love for the land. It's like not all about their professional accomplishments, though they both, not just Sting, Trudy as well, have numerous.
Yeah, so they live in the village where Andrea's mother came from.
Oh, and isn't it, and I say, actually, when you see the clip, I need to send you the screener. I say to him, why does it feel so good here? There's something about that land right there. I don't know if it's a specific kind of trees. I'm very allergic to things, and I could breathe like really well there. And it's all organic. Yeah. So, and I'm one of those people who can almost tell, I feel it. And it's a really magical place. And if, people always wonder, can we go visit? If you have, if you have the money, you can actually rent the villa or the guest houses there when they're not.
Guest houses there, but you can also go to their little shop.
That's what I was gonna say. The farm shop is adorable. Yeah, anybody can go.
Vegetables and strawberries.
You can buy vegetables, eggs from their chickens. You have the wine. The people who work there are really neat, and they're really proud of this. And then you and I saw each other, they do this anniversary celebration, but they invite all the locals.
Yeah, and I wanted to say too that Sting actually is quite involved with the community. I mean, like he's gone and gotten his hair cut at the barbershop, and he's donated to things in the village and helped people. So they're not like hiding away in their castle. They're part of the community.
No, and I think, and when I interviewed Mr. Coppola, he's like that. And when I got there the first night, my mom, this was years ago, the first interview with him, I brought my mom because I was only doing this. I literally was going to Italy. We went for like 10 days, but I was going for this one day to interview him. We pull into this little town, we go to Palazzo Margherita, and they have a Cinecittà, the bar. I'm sitting at the bar. Who's at the next table but Mr. Coppola, talking to his cousin.
Oh, fun.
And he can be almost more normal. I mean, people know and I said, oh, hey, hi, Mr. Coppola, I'm interviewing you. Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry you had to move your plane tickets. And we're just people. And then they make another appearance in this special. I love them to pieces. His 100-year-old uncle who passed away at 102 and his 99-year-old aunt. And it is about family for Coppola.
And he's another one again that has saved that little town and the community.
Yes.
I went there and I took my friends and we ate at the Cinecittà place. And I asked if we could go and see the house. And so Mr. Coppola is here right now, so we can just show you. We'll take you through the kitchen and we'll show you the back garden, but he's here right now. So, and then the next night we were actually staying in Matera, and he was there selling his wine.
He's a character.
Salesman, it's a really nice restaurant.
No, and it's funny, Sting and Trudy have the wines. They're just like any other business people. They take all their businesses seriously to try to promote them.
Yeah, it's really great. The other thing, I was trying to think, the Arlene too, she's made such a career change. And I think that's one of the things that I always love about Italy. And I use like the word Renaissance. And I think a lot of people come here and they're reborn and they kind of feel free and they're inspired by all the beauty around them. And it kind of picks you up, and gives you inspiration.
It gives you a new life. And I think that's what Sally felt. And Arlene was a film executive in LA. And she even says a quote like, I think we use this in the DVD version, like, LA is no place for old women, like after 30, and she always wanted to be an interior designer. She went because it was easy for her to move. Her parents were from St. Martin, so she had a French passport.
Yeah.
So, but she had only been to Italy like once or twice, but she felt so at home. And one of the segments we do is she's single, no children, and how she developed a family of friends. And the interesting thing is she actually feels Italy is more open to the non-nuclear family, which is very interesting. She really felt like in the US, and I understand this as well, being single, like it's like mother, father, 2 children, like the world's not sure what to do with you and you don't fit into that, or, even though there's like a lot of divorce or whatever, she actually found that Italy was much more open than she thought.
Well, what you were saying too, that Sally said too, being the older woman and single or widowed or something, like my mom, she would spend 6 months here because at home she goes, I'm the widow. Who invites me?
Yes. But isn't it strange? Because I would think in the US it would be more open. Not necessarily.
Not when you're planning those dinner parties,
Yeah.
But it's funny how people are really just all inclusive here and adopt you. It's beautiful. And I think that makes I have to check my phone over here. I hear a little clicking going on. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, there. Oh, okay, it's okay. But yeah, so now after you do this, then do you already start dreaming about your next show?
I do. I have thoughts. I even had this like one really big sponsor to talk to again, and I'm like, it's like I don't have children, but I'm guessing it's like having children. Do you really want to do it again? So yes, and I want to consult with you because I would like to maybe do Sicily and a couple of episodes on Sicily. I don't know when it's coming. I think it will happen. I was looking at maybe could we film in the fall, and people love the show so much. The funny thing is, I'm not even doing it for me because I'm really tired. It's the emails I get. People want another one, and so I'm sure there will be another one. It's just, let's see what the timing looks like.
Well, I'm sure it must take a long time for you to do the research and figure out what you want to film and who you want to film.
It does. It does. And I have a lot of ideas though. Like that's not almost if we wanted to go in 2 months, we could pull it together. I have ideas. I work with Fabio. He comes up with ideas. He comes up with crazy things like donkey therapy that I did, which was actually really cute. It's not so much that because I have 19 years of material. It's, actually filming it is incredibly exhausting. But I've done it. I can do that again. But then, it's the editing and putting it together and 6 half-hour episodes. And it's TV is so much more labor intensive than anyone could ever imagine. So, I have a book idea. Maybe I'll work on a book. Oh, there is a companion book to the show, but it's a different. I'd like to write a memoir related to my parents in Italy and all the crazy stories that I have.
And
so that might be first. We'll see.
So tell us more. When does the show start?
So the show is airing right now. If you go to Dream, it started. So here's the weird thing about PBS. Each market airs it a different day and time. So if you go to dreamofitaly.com/TTT, put in your zip code, it will tell you when and where it's airing. So the first few weeks of June are Pledge. So that's the one. Oh, hey, Chuck, I have a favor to ask you. Yeah. Can you pull the refrigerator out? because making this noise. So first few weeks are pledge, and that's the 90-minute special. There's 30 minutes, and Joe Mantegna, the actor, joins me, and we tell you how to. Yeah, he's lovely. He's from Puglia, his family.
Oh, great.
So we tell you how to give to your station, and you get the companion book, the DVD, you get a piece of Del Bretta jewelry. I don't have it on today. Italian lessons from Rosetta Stone.
Oh,
So if
great.
you're really into Italy, you want to try to watch The Pledge. But the beauty of PBS, and the reason so many people know the show, which is shocking to me, because I'm like, it's just me. What are you talking about? It's very weird because PBS repeats it. Season 1 is still airing 6 years later.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's 6 years ago.
Yeah, so actually, and then, oh my God, is today Wednesday? I forgot. Season 2 is airing on Create TV this for like 6 weeks. So there's something called Create TV, which is like the Food Network for PBS. That there's a big primetime premiere June 26th at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Party time.
That will air like across the country, almost 90%. So, if you can't find the Pledge version, you can watch it there. Ultimately, it airs in 96% of US homes. It's just when and where and how.
And then how long do they run it, or they just run forever?
This one, there's like a 4-year contract to start, but this season 1 is still airing 6 years later. And what's nice is they'll do like a marathon, so you can watch. There's season 1, there's season 2. You're in the Florence episode of season 2. There's the Dream of Italy Tuscan Sun special with Francis, which is really adorable. And then there's this 1-hour special, Dream of Italy Travel, Transform, and Thrive. And all the other ones you can get like on Amazon if you want to stream, or pbs.org. So there's so many ways to see it. That's why so many people have seen this. It just shocks me how many people see this show. You think you're doing something in a vacuum, right?
Isn't that fabulous though? Satisfaction.
It is, but and I remember I never got to meet your mom, but she would call me to renew her memberships, and she reminded me of my mother. And I always think, God, my mother, I still think like there's a new show, my mother's publicizing it from heaven. She'd tell you know what I mean? We had similar personalities of mothers.
Yeah.
I was like, my mother's telling everybody. And she's in this show again, a little bit of her. So.
Oh, that's really great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were you guys when you filmed that?
That was in Castelvetere. So I took them back. We went to the town that my mom was from, my mother's grandparents were from, and my mother had stage 4 cancer. You would not know it. Had a miracle. She'd had weeks to live. She ended up living 2.5 years, and she prayed to this Madonna in the town. And we go to honor the Madonna, and kids, there's something to it. There is something to it. And then when my mom was actually on her deathbed, she had been sick, but then all of a sudden things worsened. And I'm not thinking anything about this town. I'm not thinking, I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I said, Mommy, what do you see? Thought she would say her father, the dogs, she said the Madonna. And I almost died. And I literally, after the Tuscan Sun special, it was 6 months after my mother died. We filmed the Tuscan Sun special in Cortona. I got a car and I drove 6 hours back to Castelvetere to thank the Madonna for accompanying my mother home. Like I had to go. Yeah. Came out of the church, and not right after I came out of the church, but there was a huge rainbow. Oh. So I know lots of towns have these traditions. But boy, I know in my gut, there's something to it.
No, it's that's another thing here too. Even if people don't go to church like every Sunday or something like that.
Right, and they don't.
But they have their patron saints or the Madonna or their protector of the city, and everybody shows up. Everybody shows up.
And so the interesting thing, and if you watch the Castelvetere episode, so my great-grandfather came pretty early. I want to say 1888. So he came, he was poor, working on the railroad, building the railroad, I think he was doing. Or was he a stonemason? I can't, no, his first job was working the railroad. He hurt his arm so badly they wanted to amputate it.
Ooh.
And he said, no way. I'm going back to my town. I'm going back to the Madonna, goes back to Italy, heals completely,
See?
and then comes back in 1890, you know, and never goes back again. So it's not just my mother. There was like a long line of miracles. And if you meet anyone from this town, it's pretty spectacular. She's a really amazing, the Madonna is really amazing.
One that really works, right?
And you know what? I've had such a hard year. And one day I was like, why do you not talk to the Madonna? Because she's really on it a lot. So talk to the Madonna.
You've got a connection. Your mom's
I
probably
do, but sometimes I forget, you know, and
I think every time I see that, the guy who talks to the spirits, what's he? The new cute guy on TV, Matt something or other.
Oh, is he the new one? There's a few,
The new guy, and he has a reality show with his family and stuff.
Yeah.
His mother was a medium, his grandmother was a medium, he's a medium, but his sister and father don't. But I'm always like talking to him where he sees people. I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if Kathy's talked to him.
You know, I've talked to a few.
No, but he just he's always making people feel better because, and you know, I don't know. Why not?
Well, I think I wrote this in a little essay about my parents. Sometimes I'm not sure how much to fly the freak flag, right? Because I was actually interested in this before my parents died, but then it became a bigger thing. So I wrote about this. So it's not the first time I'm mentioning it. So like 2 years ago, actually, a friend of mine who runs, my hair is like jumping up. A friend of mine who runs these trips to Tuscany knew I was really into like the metaphysical and said, you have to go meet this medium. Her name's Diane. I went. Now, I don't know if she knew, I don't think she knew what I did or who it was or whatever. I sit down and I had been to a couple meetings. So I'm actually like there to ask her more about my life and my dad who is still alive. My mother is like on my mind. It's not my first thing. I sit down. She says, your mother's here. Okay. Why does she keep showing me the singer Madonna? And I literally said, I recorded it. You're shitting me. You're shitting me. I was like, it's not the Madonna. It's not Madonna. It's the Madonna. And she said, she wants you to know. I know I sound like a freak, but she wants you to know she's met her. She knows her. And all of it is true.
Isn't that great?
And, you know, the reason I really believe it is like the singer Madonna, like who would
pick up on that? Yeah. Why is your mother walking out with Madonna?
You know, there's more to that. There's more than it meets the eye. And, you know, if I didn't believe all this, I would still be curled in a corner, like over my parents not being here and loss. And so I think it gives a lot of hope. And I think when you're in Italy, you kind of even are more connected to that world.
You feel it all around. I mean, people are just so respectful of this and have so much faith. And I think often there's all different kinds of faith people can have, like, you know, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you're a Buddhist or something. But I was once told that if you channel your requests and you're thinking about something too, you're putting out energy and it makes things happen.
Oh, I believe that.
Instead of just sitting there and let things happen to you.
I believe that. It's not easy to do. I wish I could think of, I have stories like that where I remember, like, this isn't like a big story, but 5 years ago or so, I have not been to Arizona in like 15 years. And I kept thinking, I'd really like to go to Arizona. I live in Denver and it was like April or May. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I got an invitation. Somebody was interested in buying Dream of Italy, who never ended up buying it. They wanted me to come to Phoenix to have a meeting. It was like 2 days later. Now, I've thought lots of things that never happened, but I do think there is something to, you know, really thinking about something and putting that energy out there. And, you know, my mom believed it even when she was sick. And I swear she convinced her doctor. She would talk to her cells. Like, she's like, I'm not going. This is not done. And my mother was very, very ill. And I think she willed herself to part of it. So I think there's a lot more to that. And I think people are more open to it than they might have once been. And I also think in Italy, there's just this, you're closer to something.
Mm-hmm.
You're close. And my Italian friends don't think any of this is weird either, like
They probably all had some experience.
saints and, and anyway, so that's been a little hobby of mine, just how it's all connected, right?
No, it is. And it's so much part of the life here too. Like we were talking about, how to live like an Italian. And there's a lot of little things that are just part of it, taking time for yourself, putting yourself first often.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first met my now husband, I had a job somewhere and I think I was bartending at a friend's club. He was just opening. And he would come at midnight and go, "What are you doing? Why are you still here?" I go, "The bar's open. I'm working. I work here." He goes, "No, you're coming home now." It's just like, and I thought, oh, is this guy going to be like one of those really rough and tough, like whatever Italian husbands or something? But it was because I was working so much and that wasn't good to work that much. And you come before, and your family comes before work. And so I think that puts a balance in your life too, that work isn't everything. So
Yes.
maybe people here don't have as much money and they don't
Yeah.
have as big of a house, but they have a life and they have their family and the priorities.
Yeah. And I think it's so funny. I feel like, especially with this, just in getting this special made, I actually worked harder than I ever have. And I work a lot anyway. So I feel like, oh my God, I'm not even living what I'm saying. But to get it done, I had to do it. But my goal now is actually to live a more balanced life. Because, that's much more meaningful.
For your health. Yeah. Also.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're producing something like that, you've got to work like that to do it. But I think it's worth it too when you're working towards a goal.
Well, I think this last year I would have.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
If I didn't have it, I really would have, I am like a terrier. I have a terrier now, but like, I need something to sink my teeth into. And, I was with Italy the whole time. I was immersed in Italy the whole time all of this was going on. And so it was a godsend. It really, I didn't have time to wallow, or, I'm sure I did a little, but, I really had a goal. And, the show's coming out, I think, at the perfect time, right? In a different world, it would have come out like 6 months ago, but we're just opening back up. And I also think it's about more than travel. So it's about like, how are we going to live our lives? I think you're going to see more Americans moving to Italy. Now, and you and I both know, and I'm doing this companion book, like, it's not this perfect life. It's just a different kind of life.
Very, very hard.
And so I think people, we did an extended version, like a DVD that you get if you pledge to PBS. And in that version, Arlene is like, if you want to work in Italy, you're going to have to do something you probably don't want to do. And you're not going to make that much money. And, she was really sharing the reality of Italy. Yeah, and I think it's hard in those work years.
You retire here, it's different. You come
here retiring or doing the student thing for a couple of years, but that meaty in between part, and it's interesting to see if they'll change anything with remote work, because it's hard to get those work visas, and then the elective residency visa, you're not allowed to work, right? You're bringing your own money, and it would be amazing if Italy would. And they do those quotas with freelancers, and if they would open up some digital nomad opportunities, because
I have friends and they're digital nomads. They had both a husband and wife who lived here before, and she had been a cook, and then she got in an accident and couldn't stand on her feet all day anymore, and she wanted to live in Italy more than anything in her whole life. She comes here like every year on vacation, leaves her husband at home even because they've got a kid in school. And Italy is she has a passion for Italy. And so it's like, we're going to move to Italy. And her mom just died. And so she's like, okay, we're not moving until my mom's, okay, whatever. And so, but even they had a hard time. They couldn't get into Italy. because Italy has raised how much money you need to prove you make.
Yeah, for the for the elective residency. I mean, don't quote me. And Michele, the lawyer we worked with, would probably, I feel like it's 4,000 or 5,000, 4,000.
I think it's more now. I think it's more.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got to be passive income, right? So it's got to be like Social Security, rentals. You can't actively be working for the elective residency visa.
Yeah.
And
I think they wanted like the as a husband and wife, then it was like double. It wasn't like
oh my God, and that's a lot of money.
It was a ridiculous amount of money, and they are self-employed and they have this digital business. So they moved to Portugal.
A lot of people, that's a big place to go. And you can actually, this is not possible, or as far as I know, if you invest, you have to invest like $300,000 or $400,000 in Portugal. Then you become on a, and it might be okay, you know, if you're retired and you buy a house. I don't know all the ins and outs, but you're then on a path to citizenship. So Italy doesn't do that. You know, you can't buy a house and then live in Italy. But I think people, the reason this is special, so it's Dream of Italy, Travel, Transform, and Thrive, dreamofitaly.com/TTT to find out. I think it's getting people to think. It's a good timing because we're all thinking, oh my God, if not now, when? Jobs are really opening up. You know, all these jobs that you had to be in, like I lived in DC for years, and all these jobs that you'd have to live in DC to have them, people are opening up to these opportunities. And so I think it's a really interesting time. And then we talk about, again, in the special, citizenship. You're a sanguinis, which is what I'm going for, which is, I should have, again, don't do what I do, do what I say. Should have done it years ago. I have a few stipulations that are hard to get around. Like I have some complications, but if you claim your Italian citizenship, if you have blood and certain people were born and didn't naturalize, you can get an EU passport. You can live in Italy without a problem.
Exactly.
And that's been like 400%. I think the applications are up. And so if you come to the website, watch the show, the book half the book is about how to move to Italy, the companion book. So it's a huge hot trend. You know, I love talking about the dream, but there's also the reality of
There's
Italy.
the reality behind the dream. Yeah. And it is, I think, for people who are trying to, you know, most people I hear of are selling their big houses and downsizing to a smaller house. That's a good reason. I think then you could even spend like what my mom would do, like, let's say half the year here. She'd spend like April, May, June, September, October, November.
I think that's sort of what Frances Mays does. And in this special, we laughed so hard. She tells me it's like having two husbands, and she has a fantastic real husband, but like North Carolina and Cortona. And it can be, you know, a really great life because, and people ask me, well, why? And I didn't go move for various reasons. And then I had these older parents and I couldn't move. And I still think I might live there full time sometime, but it's kind of a cool life to have both.
I think both is perfect, actually.
These are the two greatest countries in the world. And I will tell you, sometimes I've landed back in the US, being gone a long time, and I'm like, man, this is the greatest country on earth. And I love Italy. And I think even for women, you know, I would not have had the opportunities and
exactly
that I had. I think about, well, what if my family had never left Castelvetere? Who would I be, or what would I be? Well, I'd be very different, but you know, so I think that both countries offer so much.
There's that, there's a town in Sicily where I go to all the time for a Madonna festival when I run my programs in May.
I got to go with you.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. I mean, same thing, the whole giant Madonna, and they bring her out of the church and they put her on wood, and it takes like 50 guys with her on their shoulders, running up and down this hill with her and stuff. But anyway, she's just really special. But it's a village where that American actress bought the house and redid it.
Oh, Lorraine Bracco.
Yes, it's that same village. So about 8 years ago when I was there for like a first time, there was this little girl, you know, here's a group of Americans in this village in the middle of nowhere, really, and no one speaks English. And she hears us speaking English, and I see her standing next to us, listening to us. And she was maybe, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something. And her parents were from the village. They had moved to America. They'd gotten jobs. They had the babies. And at a certain point, they decided to move back, and they brought her at like, 14. She was 14, but she'd been there a couple of years probably. And so I asked her something, oh, don't you miss America? And blah, 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 blah. And, you could probably write on your computer with your friends. She goes, I don't have a computer. I don't do this. I don't do that. And so she immediately fell back into
Right. The
the
traditional.
little Italian village in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. What an interesting childhood to have both.
Yeah, but I guess she wasn't old enough to really realize it yet, but she could probably then go back. Who knows? But yeah, what you have to give up sometimes is a lot. But I think when most people move here and like you're retired, you come for long periods of time, like I would suggest coming and taking Italian classes and being in a city, because you have the social life and
no, you really need that. I think people, and I talked to Damien O'Farrell, who's this relocation specialist, and we talked in this show, and people think they want, and nobody realizes Brahmasole is like walking distance of the town. Like Brahmasole in Under the Tuscan Sun is not in the middle of nowhere. People think, oh, I want that Tuscan villa, right? If you can't walk to town, sometimes it takes 30 minutes to get anywhere, and then you have to heat that damn thing in the winter. So the fantasy versus the reality. So obviously the advice for everyone, and I know you would, is go and try it out for 3 months. You can stay up to 90 days, and I think these people also think they need to buy. I mean, I get it, but Italian real estate doesn't flip over as like American real estate. So if you're going to buy, you're really buying. So you don't necessarily have to do that.
Well, what's nice too is to try a few places before you buy.
Yeah.
Try a place in the city, try a place in the country. Like people don't realize too, gasoline's like, I think $7 a gallon now, but it was 10. It depends what the dollar.
I remember in driving, I love to drive in Italy. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And I'm filling up, and it's expensive. It's gotten expensive here lately, but that's utilities. So Mary Gray, who you know from Florence, the Florentine, she helped me with writing the whole section about moving to Italy, and we did comparison of what utilities cost. And so some things are much more expensive, some things are less, food, healthcare. So it's always a trade-off.
And I think what's funny too is that it's all relative to how much money you make. So like you said, if somebody's retired and they have these dollars, fixed income and stuff like that, it's probably more than a normal Italian makes working.
Yeah, so you can live, and David Bach in the show, who's a financial expert, is like, you can live a really good life in Italy, on the same amount. Things have gotten more expensive in Italy, but you can live this really good life. So it's interesting, I think, for people to explore the options for moving. And even me, it's really weird. People always ask me, and I just have come out of this like years of helping my parents, and now they're gone. And so what am I going to do? I came back to Denver. I didn't buy anything. So I'm not like, but I'm like, okay, well, where do I want to live? And what do I want to do? I think winters can be hard in Italy. Not like they're not,
It's boring. There's nothing to do. Everything like closes down. Like, it's based on, we just had a year and a half of that where it's based on tourism. So if there's no tourists, what do you do?
Yeah, no, in Florence, I spent some time in the winter in Florence. There's activities, there's things, there's
theater, there's movies, there's people that go and do things. There's other expats too.
Lots of the people who work in tourism take their vacations in January and February. And so it's interesting. I think I'm exploring it along with everybody else. We'll see.
The perfect life. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. It was a pleasure. It's always wonderful to see you.
It's always fun. People should look for you towards the end of the special. You'll see a shot of Judy.
It's always great. Like sometimes, like when they filmed Dario, right? Doing the Netflix thing on Dario. I was invited to dinner when they filmed, and it's just a tiny little part of the show. But all of a sudden, there's just a clip of me and Andrea. Somebody's pouring wine, and I turned like, oh my God, Judy. And people always write to me when they see me. It's just like, oh, how fun.
It's amazing. People are eagle-eyed, and they notice little things, and it's amazing what people then notice about the show and write to me. And only a few people, I'll send you the screener. Only a few people, obviously a few people watched the last few nights on PBS, but it's so interesting to see because it's only the TV people who've watched it, and I've watched it 50,000 times. That what other people notice.
Yeah.
Their favorite lines or their favorite part. And I always I wake up in the middle of the night. Did I catch that? Because I've seen it just like with writing, you can look at it 20 million times and you're not going to catch.
Mistakes, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. When why I need at least the summer as a break is I've been on high alert, trying to get everything perfect, and I need a break, and then we'll see what we're going to do next.
Great. Well, everyone's looking forward to it, I'm sure. So PBS or your website, and then the TTT.
Yeah, dreamofitaly.com/TTT. It is not, you cannot watch it internationally until next year. Judy, I will send you a screener because you're my friend, but you can watch in the US on PBS. You'll find it. It airs so much that you can find it and DVR it if it's not even on a time that you can watch. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just sign off on Facebook here.
Bye, Facebook.
Ciao, ciao.